Faithful, Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. Sorry about the delay, Faithful. Apologize about that. Hope everyone is having an excellent weekend. Hopefully, everyone had a safe and fun Thanksgiving with their friends and families. And once again, my apologies for starting the show late. Had a little bit of technical difficulties, but hey, the 49ers get a win. 13 to nothing versus the Saints. Yeah, I know, Faithful. It was a ugly win, for the offensive side of the ball. The defense played lights out again. The defense saved the 49ers again. And that's the story of this game. Got to give credit to the New Orleans Saints. I mean, they played tough. They were playing, they were playing football. They were playing inspired football, I would say. The Saints defense did not give up much. The Saints defense won at the line of scrimmage, at the point of the attack. That's for sure. And I got to give the credit to the Saints, man. They did not care what the 49ers record was. Hell, they didn't even care what their record was. And the Saints came to Santa Clara, and they were prepared to ball, at least on the defensive side of the ball. So definitely got to give credit to the New Orleans Saints. But this will be an interesting discussion tonight because it could go multiple ways. I mean, are the faithful, the Niner Empire, you guys satisfied with this victory? Obviously, the offense had a lot of issues tonight, and or are you just like, hey, games are tough to win at the NFL level. We know that. And these are just one of these ugly games. And hey, we're first place in the NFC West, and we won 4 straight games. So, like I said before, it wasn't a pretty game, but the 49ers got the dub at the end of the day. That's all that matters. But I would love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comment section. This is a call-in show. I will drop that StreamYard link in the chat, probably at the 8 to 10 minute mark, somewhere in between there. And I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on what you thought of the Saints versus 49ers game. I think, don't want to give up excuses, but the 49ers did travel, to Mexico, high elevation. Maybe that took something out of the 49ers, at least on the offense, at least, right? Kyle Shanahan did say this was a much different week as far as preparation, as far as getting guys back. I mean, the 49ers only had 2 practice days. And these aren't excuses. This is just reality. This is what Kyle Shanahan has said. So I think you definitely have to take that into account. There were some injuries in the game tonight, and I'm sure we'll get updated statuses on certain players like Elijah Mitchell. CMC came back into the game late, but he did miss, it seemed like, a few series in the second half of the game. I saw Spencer Burford limp out. Debo, of course, had the hammy. I wrote these names down. Just look at them, Justin. Why are you trying to remember everything? Let me get these names. So I mentioned Elijah Mitchell, CMC, Spencer Burford, Debo, and then Jimmy Ward. And also Jimmy G. I mean, was this Bounty Gate Part 2? I mean, what the hell is going on out there, Faithful? I mean, number 97, Roach of the Saints, tried to end Jimmy's career with that hit below his knee, man. This ain't 1987. You can't make those hits no more, man. What are you doing out there? Jimmy, obviously, he got hit below the knee, and he went down. Fortunately, he stayed in the game. But we're going to get a lot of updates on these guys and their injuries tomorrow night. Huge shout out if you're watching the stream right now. Feel free to hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe to Jay in the Bay on YouTube. Make sure you hit that bell notification That way, when I go live or I put out, breaking 49ers news, you'll get updated in your YouTube. Huge shout out. We got Sean Tuber in the building. What's good? How you doing tonight, Sean Tuber? Hope all is well, man. Hopefully you had an excellent weekend, excellent Thanksgiving. Appreciate you for tuning into the stream tonight. Hey, Zeus, saludos. What's good? Jesus says, what happened to Niners offense versus Cardinals? I wish I had the answers. Hey, Zeus. I wish I had the answers, man. I mean, versus the Cardinals, 38 points put up on the board, and we could only score one touchdown versus the Saints at home. And some would even say it was a fluky touchdown, right? I mean, Jauan Jennings, he caught the ball off of a reflection off of a Saints player. So, I mean, but sometimes luck is a part of the game and in life. Sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. Sometimes the ball just bounces your way, and that's what happened in several games, or excuse me, several instances in this 49ers and Saints game. I mean, you look at Jimmy G throwing the ball as he's getting hit. It hits off of a Saints player's helmet, and Juice, using that Harvard brain of his, went ahead and just knocked the ball down. That was a break that went our way. The Jimmy G, he threw the interception, but it was actually, I think they called it defensive holding, on that call that negated the interception. Like, we got lucky there. The corner for the Saints, I think his name Harris Jr., he made some pretty poor decisions out there. He had a late hit on Jauan Jennings, and I think he did something else that was questionable as well, but he had two penalties. The Saints had some Alvin Kamara fumbling the ball twice, like once in the red zone. Like, certain things, they just go your way, man. I mean, I like what Jesus said here. Niners got some favorable flags. Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. Luck was on our side tonight. And, we should be thankful for sure, because it could have gone the other way for sure. We got Celts Chronicles in the building. What's good? Celts Chronicles, 1/4 of straight out of the Bay. We will be having a live stream tomorrow night on the Jay in the Bay YouTube channel. Feel free to tune in tomorrow night, 8:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we'll be talking about this game and much more. Appreciate you for coming through, Celts. Oh, yeah. Make sure, if you haven't, check out Straight in the Bay, the other members' YouTube channels, Celts Chronicles, Bay Area Baller 18, and Amin the Dream. Make sure you check them out. Sean Tuber, I like this statement, man. He says that was a game with two great defensive lines. I completely agree with you there. I thought the Saints defensive line showed up and showed out. I know Cameron Jordan was on the injury report all week, but he made his presence felt in this game. I think he forced a holding penalty against McGlinchey. And, he was making McGlinchey earn his check. That's for sure. And this entire defensive line, the Saints, that is, did an excellent job. I mean, they slowed down our running game. I mean, not even slow it down. They pretty much eliminated the running game. I felt throughout the duration of the game, the 49ers offense was just one-dimensional. We had to really rely on Jimmy G throwing the ball. We couldn't really rely on the running game. We had under 100 yards rushing in this game. I would be, in our victories, I would say this has to be the only game where we didn't rush for over 100 yards in our victories. Someone would have to look that up, but I would surmise that this is the first game where we didn't have over 100 yards rushing in a victory. So fortunately, we were able to win that time of possession, but a lot of things did go our way. But you're going to have some of these games like this in the NFL. Jesus says Mitchell's out again. Yeah, I mean, it's very unfortunate. I mean, he just can't stay healthy, and hopefully CMC will be able to, carry the load. Jordan Mason is getting some more carries, but this is part of the reason why I did not want to get rid of Jeff Wilson Jr. I mean, He was our best back this season before we got CMC. He's been our best back, most reliable back, and then you trade him. But maybe this will force, if Mitchell is out for, I don't want to speculate on the amount of time he's out, but if he's not able to come back, this week or next week or whatever, then maybe obviously that'll force Shanahan to, use Jordan Mason. And we saw Jordan Mason in there tonight, and I thought he looked solid. But like I said before, this is a call-in show, so I will drop that StreamYard link. Feel free to call in. You can show your face. You can just use your voice, and then you can call into the show. Let me go ahead and copy that link, and feel free. You can continue to leave your comments in the comment section, or you could talk one-on-one with Jay in the Bay. It's up to you what you want to do. But let's continue on with these comments. Sean Tuber, I mean, you said it there, man. Where could the 49ers win this game without Jauan Jennings? I don't know, man. I mean, he is the money man. I should say he is the man on third down. I love to call third down the money down. Jimmy G loves to go to Jauan Jennings. He trusts Jauan Jennings, especially on third down in the red zone. It's great to see the rapport between, Jimmy G and Jauan Jennings. That's for sure. It's definitely great to see that rapport continue to develop. But man, I mean, what did Jennings do today? We know he had the touchdown catch. He also had 6 catches, 49 yards. He was targeted 7 times. I mean, hey, he was our leading receiver today, the only receiver that had a touchdown catch. I mean, yeah, Jauan Jennings is definitely proving that, he is a reliable target for Jimmy G, and he's a gamer. There's no doubt about it. Kelts Chronicle says, being proud of the D wouldn't let me get frustrated about the O. Man, you are a very, very mature man, Kelts. Very mature, Kelts. I think, I mean, I don't feel we learned anything new about our defense. All right. Like we know our defense is elite. We know it's arguably the best defense in the NFL. And it continues to prove that, like, this is our 4th straight game where we don't allow any points in the second half. I believe this is the first shutout of the season for this defense. And, it went against a backup quarterback, Andy Dalton, and the New Orleans Saints. Like, we know the Saints aren't an offensive juggernaut, but Chris Olave, he's a pretty good receiver. I think the Saints got themselves a pretty good receiver in Chris Olave. He led the team. Actually, no, he was second on the team in catches today. 5 catches, 62 yards. He was targeted the most time with 9 times. But Chris Olave definitely is a problem. He will continue to be a problem in this league. I think he is a good receiver. And obviously, we had to slow down, Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara had he had 6 catches, 37 yards. He was targeted 7 times. So, Alvin Kamara can do it all out there. But his turnovers really hurt the Saints. I mean, usually when games are close, it comes down to who plays the most button-up football, who commits the least amount of penalties, who's able to hold on to the ball and not turn it over. And unfortunately for the Saints, those 2 turnovers by Kamara were huge, especially the one that was in the end zone. But credit to the 49ers defenders for punching the ball out. Fred Warner, first drive of the game for the Saints. Talanoa Hufanga, he punched the ball out. So credit to our guys for making plays on the defensive side of the ball, But those turnovers were huge for sure. They were huge. Niner Fanatic Podcast. What's good? How you doing tonight, Niner Fanatic, man? Hope you had an excellent Sunday. I know you enjoyed that game. For those that don't know, check out the Niner Fanatic Podcast on YouTube. Does excellent 49er content. Make sure you check him out if you haven't already. We got DDC in the building tonight. What's good? What's good, Dan Castillo? He says, what's good? Hope you had a nice Thanksgiving, brother. Same to you, man. Everyone in the chat, hopefully you had an excellent Thanksgiving. And safe travels to you and yours. And hey, if you could come out tonight, hang out with Jay in the Bay, I appreciate it. And yeah, man, appreciate you for coming through. Hey, Zeus, Saints D line was losing its balance going after Jimmy. Yeah, I mean, Roach number 97 with that hit to Jimmy G. You can't make a play like that, man. Come on, man. What you trying to do, man? You trying to end Jimmy's career, man? What are you doing? Like I said, it's almost like Bounty Gate 2.0, man. What y'all doing? But Jimmy was taking some shots. There's no doubt about it. Jimmy G, he was taking some shots in the pocket, man. He was getting hit. And he kept coming for more, Jimmy G. He stood there in the pocket. He was looking to the right and looking to the left. Jimmy G was taking some hits. One thing you can say a lot of things about Jimmy. One thing you can't say is that he ain't tough. You cannot say that Jimmy ain't tough for standing in there, throwing the ball, and trying to deliver the ball when he knows he's going to get hit. So, that's one thing you cannot talk bad about Jimmy about is his toughness, because the guy is tough. Make no mistake about it. He may not be the flashiest. He may not be able to throw the ball downfield, but he's tough. He took a lot of hits tonight. A lot of hits. We have our first caller in the building. Let's bring this gentleman on right now. We have Redder. What's good? Let me bring you back on, Redder. How you doing tonight, Redder?
Hey, pretty good. Steelers play tomorrow on Monday Night Football against the Colts.
Can't hear you, Redder. Maybe you have yourself on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, still can't hear you, Redder. Let me take you off, and I'll bring you on in a minute. Give me 1 second. So we'll continue with Redder once he comes back. Jesus, I agree with what you said, man. The Niners they did get some favorable flags. There's no doubt about it. Kelch Chronicle says only the fourth shutout all year by every team. The Saints were one of the four. And I saw a stat that the Saints, they had not been shut out since, I think it was like 2001, week 17, and it was versus the 49ers. So, that's crazy. But hey, it speaks to the 49ers, defensive prowess. That's for sure. All right, let's see. Redder, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Is it me? Can so go ahead, talk, Redder. Can the chat hear Redder? Because I can't hear
him.
Yeah, for some reason, I don't know why. For some reason, I think the chat can hear Redder, but for some reason I can't. Let me take myself out and come back in. Let me. Okay, go ahead, Redder.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I don't know why. For some reason, I can't hear Redder. I'm sorry, Redder. I can't hear you, man. It's my fault. I'm not sure why, but it's my fault, Redder. I apologize about that. But for some reason, hey, go ahead, talk again, Redder.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that, Redder. I'm checking my volume. My volume's up. For some reason I can't hear you. Let me try something else. Yeah. I'm sorry about that, Redder. Maybe call back later on in the show. Maybe there's something I got to figure out, but sorry about that, Redder. Let me see if I can go. Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that, folks, but for some reason I can't hear Redder, but we'll keep this show going. Let's see. Redder did say that we play tomorrow on Monday Night Football prime time. I wonder who the Steelers play. I don't know who they play tomorrow night. Who y'all play tomorrow night? Let me know in the chat, Redder. Oh, he says against the Colts. Cool. Hey, that should be a decent game. We got Deneen in the building. What's good? Appreciate you coming into the stream tonight, Deneen. Hopefully all is well. Hopefully you had an excellent Thanksgiving. Hey, Jay, what's good? Faithful 49ers. What did the faithful, the Niner Empire, feel about Jordan Mason tonight? Gus Chronicle says, given the OP, Mason is a dog. Okay. Yeah, I thought Mason was solid tonight. He had 5 carries, 25 yards. His longest run was 9 yards. Hey, if Wilson, excuse me, not Wilson, if Mitchell is hurt for an extended period of time, then Jordan Mason, he'll get some more run. But yeah, I mean, I like what I saw. He just needs more opportunities. We obviously know the guys that are in front of him, and that's why he's not getting those opportunities. But hey, man, all he can do is stay ready and perform when his number is called. But yeah, I like what I saw from Jordan Mason. Randy Daytona, what's good? Randy says solid as Barack. Okay. And you're talking about the 49ers victory tonight. I mean, I would love to know, you guys' thoughts. Are you encouraged or discouraged about this 49ers victory? Obviously, we improved to 7-4. We're first in the NFC West. So obviously that's something to be proud about. We still got some more games to go. I mean, Miami versus Miami next week. Whoo, that's going to be a hell of a game. You can bet that going up against Miami. We're going to see a reunion of sorts. Obviously Mike McDaniel, Jeff Wilson Jr., Raheem Mostert, Wes Welker, Allen Embry. So a mix of players and coaches coming back to Levi Stadium. So yeah, that game versus Miami is going to be very, very intriguing. That's going to be that game should get flexed into Sunday night football. I would love that, or even Monday night, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what comes to fruition. Gus Chronicle says the MVP goes to Robbie Gould. Okay. All right. Hey, Robbie made the most out of his opportunities. Hey, I feel you. Let's see. Yeah, you're right. I mean, because if Robbie Gould didn't make those kicks, yeah, that game would have been much, much closer than it was. That's for sure. Denise says, hey, Jay, thought Armstead was playing. What happened? Seen him practicing this week. And by the way, what's up with the rest? So I don't think, Armstead did practice on a limited basis. So that's a positive sign, because the last few weeks, Armstead had not been practicing at all. So it is a positive sign that he is practicing, but he was ruled out, I believe, either Friday or Thursday. He was ruled out. And I just don't think we're going to see Arik Armstead anytime soon. And he's dealing with, foot, ankle issues, the plantar fasciitis that usually does not get better unless you're off your feet. He may have to get surgery at the end of the season, but yeah, I just don't think we'll see much of Armstead. Hopefully he can play in maybe the last 1 or 2 games. That way he can get his conditioning back up for the playoff run. But yeah, I just don't think we'll see much of Armstead at all. But it is a positive sign that he did practice. I think we'll probably see Javon Kinlaw before we'll see Arik Armstead play in a game. But, got to give credit to the guys that are in there on the interior of the defensive line, like Hassan Ridgeway, Kevin Givens, the gentleman we just signed. I forgot his name. The gentleman we just picked up, I think he was on the Vikings practice squad. He made a big tackle for loss. His name is escaping me right now. That's going to bother me. I got to look his name up real quick. And he had a nice, home run celebration tonight. I got to look up his name. Let's see. So that was Ty McGill. Yeah, that's who that was. Ty McGill had a nice play in the game tonight. That was good to see. But the refs, what plays did you have issues with? Because the 49ers, we were on the good end on some missed calls, I would say, in this game. And sometimes you're not going to get every call your way. And of course, not every call is going to go against you. But I thought the 49ers had some favorable calls that went, in their favor in this game. Let's see. Blue True. Hot diggity dog. Appreciate that $5 super chat, Blue True. Blue True says a win is a win. Congrats, Niner Empire. Appreciate that super chat, Blue True. Let's continue on with these comments. Niner Fanatic Podcast says Mason should have been involved earlier in the season. Niner Fanatic, Shanahan don't like rookies. Niner Fanatic. He don't like rookies. He don't want to have to play rookies if he don't have to. I mean, he played Eli Mitchell last year because, Mostert got hurt. And hey, Mitchell balled out last year. But, Shanahan likes rolling with the guys he trusts to make plays, that know the playbook, to know where they're, especially at the running back position. It's great if you have great skill at that running back position, speed, awareness, quickness, yada, yada, yada. But what do you do in pass blocking situations, right? What do you do when you don't get the ball? Do you know which route you're supposed to run? Do you know the playbook? So obviously Shanahan was more comfortable with guys like Jeff Wilson Jr., who know the system like the back of their hand and know where they need to be. They might not be as skilled or as good as Mason in the long run, but Shanahan, that's who he trusts. He goes with guys he trusts. So I still can't understand it. And we talked about this on your show, Niner Fanatic Podcast. Check out the YouTube if you haven't checked it out yet. But we talked about this. Why the hell is Danny Gray still not involved in the offense? I don't get it, man. The guy has speed. You're telling me that he can't be a factor in this offense. He can't contribute to this offense. I still don't understand that. But that's just how it is. When you're in Shanahan's system, usually rookies don't get a lot of playing time, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Randy Daytona agrees with Niner Fanatic. He says, Niner Fanatic, absolutely. I think you were talking about Jordan Mason. Randy says Alvin Kamara got restarted like an old Macintosh. That's funny. That's funny. David McNew, what's good? Appreciate you coming into the stream. David McNew, he says, what's good, Jay? I'm on with Corey Davis on my StreamYard rig. Hey, man. Yeah, that's dope, man. Yeah, you should start your YouTube channel and, talk about your love of the 49ers, man. So nothing wrong with that. I appreciate you just for tuning in. David says our defense is fire. Our offense is not good, but we still won. Yeah. Some games are going to be like that. We're not going to be firing on all cylinders on both sides of the ball. You definitely have to give credit to, the Saints defense. They came to play. That's for sure. Faithful, let me know who is your offensive X factor for today's game. I would love to know that. Feel free to leave your thoughts in them comments. Since I'm having technical difficulties, I can't hear when someone calls up. But feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section about who is your offensive X factor for tonight's game. For me, it's got to be Juwan Jennings. I think you could give it to Debo too. Debo had some nice big plays as well, but Juwan Jennings had a touchdown catch. He had a favorable bounce, but Jimmy went to him on several third downs, especially when the running game wasn't really able to move the chains. We weren't able to really have a consistent run game tonight. Credit to the Saints defense, but Saints defense won at the line of scrimmage. Made no mistakes about it. In the running game, even in the passing game, Jimmy G was taking a lot of hits. So, credit to the Saints D line, especially those guys came to play. And also their defense. I mean, they only allowed 13 points, right? Only one touchdown. But my X factor tonight would be Juwan Jennings. That's for sure. So feel free to let me know in them comments who is your offensive X factor for the night. Deneen says Jimmy G got the rocks kicked out of him today. Shaking my head. And I know, right? Yeah, Jimmy was taking a lot of licks tonight, but he's a tough guy, that's for sure. And there's no denying that. Let's continue on with these. Let's see. We got John in the building. What's good? Appreciate you coming into the stream tonight, John. Hopefully you had an excellent Thanksgiving, man. And feel free to let me know your thoughts on this game between the 49ers and Saints. Let's see. Let's continue on. Let's see. Sean Tuber says Mason is a tough runner. Absolutely. And I did have a great Thanksgiving. Appreciate that, Deneen. Appreciate that. John says Jordan Mason kept the chains moving to drain the clock. True that. True that. Yep, he sure did. We needed that. There's no mistake about it. John says, in addition to the gentleman I mentioned who will be coming back to Levi Stadium, Jeff Wilson Jr., Raheem Mostert, the plethora of coaches who are coming back. John also says River Craycraft. You know what's funny about players who don't, and I'm sure this happens to every team, right? But specifically with players that don't succeed or do well in Shanahan's system, like River Craycraft, like Richie James Jr., even Dante Pettis, like those guys have made plays, for other teams. And for whatever reason, and I'm sure that happens, like I said, to every team, where sometimes that player, you draft them, but it just doesn't work out for whatever reason, whether it be injury, whether it be, I don't know, you guys just don't mesh. And then they go to a different team. Look at Marquise Goodwin. Look at Marquise Goodwin. He's playing pretty well with the Seahawks, and we're going to see Marquise in about 18 or so days on a Thursday night in Seattle. So, that's going to be another interesting game. Sean Tuber. Woo, you said it. I didn't, Sean Tuber. Miami versus Niners could be a Super Bowl preview. Yes, it could. It absolutely could. For those that are tuning in, feel free to hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that bell notification. That way you know when I go live. Dan Castillo, DDC, says, honestly, Saints always put up a battle, and to come out 13-0 deserves a celebration shot. Absolutely. It was a knockdown, drag it out, just street fight. Each defense was giving it all they could. And fortunately, I mean, if we didn't have those turnovers by Kamara, if we didn't recover those fumbles, who knows, right? Who knows if we would have won the game? I mean, we really don't know. But fortunately, we were able to win the turnover battle. I think that both teams committed a similar amount of penalties, so that wasn't a huge deal. But fortunately, we were able to get a favorable bounce in the end zone with Juwan Jennings. And we'll take that all day, though. I agree with you, Deneen. I completely agree with you. We need more touchdowns. It is lightweight frustrating against the Cardinals, right? We put up 38 points, and then against the Saints at home, barely put up 13, right? So that is frustrating. It just looked like the 49ers O-line couldn't really protect Jimmy enough. And I'll be real. Jimmy was off today. I think Jimmy was off today, even when the protection was sufficient. Like Jimmy missed that wheel route to CMC out of the backfield. Granted, Jimmy had to fit it past McCaffrey, but then there was a safety coming over. But, that was a pass that if CMC would have caught, maybe CMC could have juked to the inside and take that thing to the house. But we'll never know. But that was a throw that Jimmy missed. But Jimmy is prone to miss some throws like that, every game. We did see some Jimmy no throws today. He had one throw that was an interception, but it got called back due to a penalty. And we also had a few throws that there were questionable decisions. I'll leave it at that. There were definitely questionable decisions, but that can happen in every game. But I think the offensive line had trouble creating holes in the run game and keeping Jimmy upright in the passing game. And Jimmy was off today. I think, he was just off today. KD, what's good? How you doing tonight, KD? Hope all is well. And hope you had an excellent Thanksgiving, man. I appreciate you for tuning in tonight. Yeah, and that was that defensive tackle who had that home run celebration, throw the ball up, knock it out the park. Yeah, that was Ty McGill. That's right. Absolutely. Let's see. Deneen says some of them were just jacked. Maybe you're talking about the plays against Jimmy. Sean Tuber says, did you see the play where Mitchell got hurt? I didn't. No, I didn't see the play where he got hurt. I did not. John says, offensive X Factor, Jawan, Third, and Jennings. Yeah, that's what the first time I heard that was with Papa, the 49ers broadcaster. He said Third and Jennings. That's his, that's where he performs best. And Jimmy G trusts him on those third downs. So that's why he's Jawan, Third, and Jennings. Corey's X Factor, Jimmy G. Okay. Hey, he was taking some hits tonight, that's for sure. Sean Tuber says Mitchell is a better runner than CMC. I would lightweight agree with you, Sean Tuber. I think he is a little bit better. CMC is probably a little bit better in the passing game, but I think they complement each other well. I think so. We have another caller on. Hopefully, I can hear this gentleman who I'm about to bring on. I guess we'll see. Maybe we can troubleshoot it a little bit on air. Let's see what happens. How you doing, Kelts? Yeah, it's me, man. I don't know. I can't.
Hey, what up, Jay? You can hear me?
Yeah. It's a glitch in the matrix, man. I don't know, man. Hold on. Let me let me I'm gonna go out of StreamYard. I'm gonna take you off, Kelts, and let me go out of StreamYard. Okay, so I went out of StreamYard. Let's see if that does something. Kelts.
What up, man?
Oh.
Nothing? Nothing. Hey, it's all good, bro. It's hey, it's all good. It's all good.
Peace. Show tonight. I apologize. I'm gonna have to test something out, but yeah, I can't go.
It's all
try
good, Brody. What's up, man? Nothing.
No.
Nada.
I don't know why I didn't change anything. So sorry about that, Kelts, man. But I will see you tomorrow night, Kelts, on the Straight Out of the Bay show. My apologies, but I can't hear Kelts. But I'm gonna have to get something figured out. John says, how about Juice playing volleyball when the ball popped up off a defender's helmet? Yeah, that was part of luck with the 49ers tonight. There were several things that happened in this game where we just were on the positive side. Like it worked out in our favor. Like Jimmy G, that was another play where Jimmy G was getting hit. He threw the ball and then it went off a Saints helmet. And then Juice, using that Harvard brain of his, hit the ball down. So, that could have been huge. Like, so potentially Jimmy could have thrown 2 interceptions in that game. And we may have not been able to get on the winning side of the game if that happened. So, yeah. Who is you guys' defensive X factor tonight? I would love to know who you guys thought, man, the 49ers would not have been able to win this game without this defensive player's performance. And if I had to name one player, Fred Warner balled out tonight, especially with that forced fumble. He made a lot of tackles behind the line of scrimmage. Talanoa Hufanga, I think he led the team in tackles. Let me double check. Let's see. I think Huff led the team in tackles. Let's see. Yeah, Huff led the team in tackles tonight. 9 total tackles, 6 solo tackles. He was a beast out there tonight. He also had a forced fumble. So Fred Warner and Huff definitely at the top of my list. Demo Lenore, he struggled a little bit tonight, but you just hope that's growing pains and he'll get better. Obviously Bosa had a sack tonight, 2 quarterback hits. Samson he had 2 quarterback hits tonight, continuing to bring that pressure on Andy Dalton. I think my top 2 guys are Talanoa Hufanga and Fred Warner. I think those are my top 2 guys for defensive X factor tonight. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. Kels Chronicle says, on the real, watching Jimmy makes me think we will always come just close and not win at all. We need touchdowns. This has been brewing for years. Trey area. Yeah, I mean, I echo your sentiments, Kelts. I really do. It's not all Jimmy's fault tonight, but he definitely did not have one of his best games. The offensive line did have trouble blocking for him and, blocking in the run game. That's for sure. So it was essentially a one-dimensional offense. But Jimmy, let's be real. Jimmy was off tonight. No lie. He was off tonight. I mentioned earlier plays in the game, that wheel route to CMC he missed. He missed a few other throws as well. So Jimmy didn't have his best game. And we've seen this type of performance from Jimmy before. Unfortunately, with Jimmy, he's it's up and down with Jimmy. It's like a roller coaster. You don't know what you're going to get. Obviously, he balled out last week with the 4 TDs. And this week, he was not as consistent. But he's going to have to be much better next week, because I don't know about y'all, Faithful, but I don't think we're going to be able to score 13 points and beat the Dolphins next week. So we're going to have to be much better. Obviously, Mike McDaniels knows Shanahan's offense. So we're not going to be able to – the defense is not going to be able to win next week's game. I think this offense is going to have to score, about 30 points. And obviously the defense has been playing great. I think the one game where obviously we were overmatched was against, the Kansas City Chiefs. But we're definitely going to have to score more than 13 points. We're going to have to put up, I think we're going to score at least 30 points in order to beat this Dolphins team. That's for sure. Because they have a high-powered offense. Make no mistake about it. And, looking at the 49ers schedule, just trying to look to see, the defense has it's been great. Obviously we gave up 28 to Atlanta, 44 to KC, but that's pretty much it. This defense has not given up 20 points a lot this season. And obviously the defense has been the stronger unit this season. The only time we gave up 20 points in a game this year was Atlanta and KC. That was it. Every other team, we haven't allowed more than 20 points. So I don't know if we can do that against the Chiefs. That might be asking, or excuse me, I don't know if we can do that against the Dolphins. That might be asking a little too much, but it's funny. I was asking my wife, I was like, oh, well, the only way Jimmy G will come back is if he wins the Super Bowl. But part of me is like, no, because obviously we have a long way to go for that, of course. But even if Jimmy does win the Super Bowl, I feel like other teams would maybe want him more. We've already seen the ups and downs with Jimmy. We've seen that he has trouble staying healthy. So it makes no sense to sign him long term. I feel like we should just go with Trey. And obviously he's going to have some growing pains there, but obviously just that thought came to my mind, but we got a long way to go for that, obviously. But let's continue on with these comments, and feel free to continue to leave your defensive X factor for tonight's game. Rhino G, what's good? Appreciate you tuning in to the stream, Rhino G. Tell me how you really feel, Rhino. Rhino G says our offense is trash. Jimmy G throwing the ball in triple coverage, forcing it to Kittle when McCaffrey was wide open, coming from the back out to the left. That was awful. He got to be on point next week. I agree. Jimmy made some questionable decisions. He got bailed out a few times. That throw to Kittle in the end zone, double coverage, man. You can't make that throw. You got to look somewhere else. And Jimmy looked he did look skittish a little bit when he was getting hit. You know, we've seen it. When Jimmy's protected, he plays his best. And tonight, there were laps in his protection, and he didn't play his best. So there's no doubt he's going to have to play much better next week against Miami. And a lot of things went our way in this game. The Critty, what's good? He says the offensive line is the issue on offense. Now, this was the first game, I would say, in the last 4 games that the offensive line struggled. Credit to the Saints D. They came to play. They won at the line of scrimmage. We weren't able to really run the ball as much or effective as we wanted to, and we couldn't protect Jimmy. And I think that showed tonight. So the offense is going to have to be better as a complete whole. There were some injuries tonight. We'll see the status of Debo. And, I don't know about you, Faithful, but I did not want Debo to play tonight in today's game. Obviously, he contributed a lot in today's game, but he's coming back from the hamstring injury. He's not healthy, and we allowed him to go out there, and he ended up getting hurt. We'll see the status of his hamstring tomorrow. He'll probably be a limited participant in practice all week, and then it'll probably be like a game time decision, but we'll see. We're definitely going to have to play much better against Miami. And Miami, they're really hot right now on offense and defense. So it's going to be an interesting game. John says his defensive X factor is Fred Warner. All right. Hey, I can dig it. And feel free to let me know if you haven't already, who is your defensive X factor tonight? Let's see. Okay, read that one. Yep. John says, I feel like Saleh brought the bend, don't break mentality to our D, and D'Amico added swarm to elevate it as well. I agree. I think it still is a bend, but don't break, because teams can move the ball down the field. We just make it really difficult. Like, we try to keep everything in front. The 49ers don't really give up many big plays. I would love to see the stat of 20-plus yard plays or 20 yards or more plays against this defense. I feel like we don't give up big plays. Like, if a team went 10 plays, 50 yards, I feel like it would be a bunch of 8-9 yard plays, but we don't give up those big plays over the top. We don't allow big runs. But especially in the red zone, we do excellent. I like that. I saw that Fred Warner was aggressive. He punched that ball out of Alvin Kamara's hands on the first drive. Talanoa Hufanga put that shoulder into the ball. That's the type of defense that's like, championship winning defense. And it's always good to see, but the offense has to do their job. That's for sure. I wanted to bring up something real quick. I don't know if you guys heard, and then we'll continue on with the comments. Raheem Mostert was interviewed, I think sometime this past week, and I would love to hear what you guys think of what Raheem Mostert said about the 49ers. And I think this is just one quote from Raheem Mostert. I'm not going to read, because I think he made several quotes, but I'll just go with this one. And maybe on the Straight Out of the Bay show tomorrow night on the intheBay YouTube channel, maybe we'll talk more about what Raheem Mostert said. But Raheem Mostert talked about NFL teams, putting pressure on players to set their long-term health aside and hurry back is more common than we realize. Quote, this is what Raheem Mostert said. It isn't right, Mostert says, and it's up to the player to step up and say, this isn't right. I don't think this is the best of my interests. Sometimes you don't get that with players, but for me, and this is Raheem Mostert, that was my case. I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew exactly how I'd handle the situation. I knew exactly coming off of rehab what I needed to do in order to get back on the field. After and this ends his quote. But after so many nicks throughout his turbulent NFL career, Mostert wanted to be as healthy as he possibly could. Knee injuries can render running backs sad, slow reincarnations of what they once were. You're often deemed damaged goods, replaceable, sent to the Goodwill bin in favor of someone younger, healthier, with much less miles. Mostert weighed all pros and cons when he decided to sit out the season. He knew how much he was risking. The decision absolutely pissed the 49ers off, but he also knew how hard he would work. Mostert feels that when free agency hit, he believes the 49ers used his decision against him. Mostert says, yeah, they did. They definitely did. I moved on from the situation. I have the opportunity to see them. I mean, I wish more players would think like Raheem Mostert, be a little selfish, think about your long term as, you know, as a running back in the NFL. I mean, it's really only 3 years. Usually it's 3 years and you're out. You know, I don't fault Raheem Mostert for getting knee surgery last year. You know, it's his decision. I respect his decision, but I think more players should look after themselves, be a little selfish, because if he would have came back early and got hurt again, you know, he would not probably be in Miami right now, you know, thriving. You know, it does in a way hurt the team, but I think as a player, especially, you have a short shelf life. Essentially, every player in the NFL has a short shelf life, unless you're Tom Brady. You're going to play until you're 50 or whatever. But especially at that running back position, Raheem Mostert, you know, I don't look down on Raheem Mostert or think less of him after these comments. He also had some other comments as well, but maybe we'll get on that. We'll talk about that on the Straight Out of the Bay show tomorrow night on Jay and the Bay YouTube. If you're in here right now, and if you haven't, make sure you like, you subscribe, hit that bell notification. I would appreciate it. But what were you guys' thoughts on what I read from Raheem Mostert? You know, do you feel bad for Raheem? Do you wish he would have just did the rehab and try to come back with the 49ers last year? Or you say, hey, he's trying to take care of himself, his body, his family, and he's doing what's best for him. You know, I respect him for that decision. And I think, honestly, more NFL players should think that way. You know, I think sometimes you have to be a little selfish. I just wanted to hear what you guys thought about that, but let's continue on with these comments. Kelts Chronicles, CMC on the goal line was wide open. Even the broadcast before the snap recognized to go to CMC, and Jim didn't even attempt to look. I'm sure on every passing play, there is a go-to guy, right? I'm sure based on the coverage you see, you anticipate, okay, Kittle's going to be open on this corner route, or Ayuk's going to be open on this slant route. And sometimes Jimmy, this is a fault of his, he doesn't always survey the field. Sometimes he locks on his target as soon as the ball is snapped, and that's not always a good thing. You know, you got to be able to survey the field. Now, was that because Jimmy wasn't sure about trusting his old line? He wasn't sure about getting the protection he need, or he just didn't look at CMC's way and he missed an opportunity? You just hope that the guys watch film, they see what they need to improve on and work on it. I mean, I know this isn't the first time. I know this isn't the first time Jimmy has done that, where he doesn't look a guy's way, but it's so easy to look at the all 22 or to look at a replay and said, oh, you should have just went there. Maybe he should have, right? Would have been able to get a touchdown. But I'm sure Shanahan has said, hey, go to this guy based on the coverage you see. He should be open. But maybe Jimmy needs to evolve his thinking. He's got to survey the entire field on every play. Like, yeah, sure, you have your go-to guy, but at least look the other way. And I think that is a fault of Jimmy. Jimmy's got to get better in that area. Absolutely. See you tomorrow, Kelts, man. Appreciate you for trying to get on, man. I got to check out my settings. Sean Tuber, let's keep it rolling. Faithful, absolutely. That's 4 games in a row. Let's make it 5 next week against the Finns. David V, what's good? Appreciate you tuning into the stream tonight. What were your thoughts about this victory tonight, man? Let me know. Let's see. What other issue do we have on offense? I mean, running back health. CMC and Elijah Mitchell both went out in this game. You know, what's going to be their availability? What's going to be their health status the rest of the week and on game day? That could be definitely something to monitor. We got Grandizer, a.k.a. G12 in the building. What's good? Appreciate you tuning in to the stream tonight, G12. Hopefully you had a great Thanksgiving. David V says, take that win, take that shutout, Niners. Absolutely. You know, hey, it's a shutout win. That was our first shutout of the year. Hey, it didn't come easy. JH Sports, what's good? Appreciate you tuning in to the stream tonight, JH. I hope all is well. Hopefully you had an excellent Thanksgiving. Sean Tuber says, Talanoa Hufanga is my defensive X factor. All right. Yeah, I mean, he loves to bring the boom. I love how he plays physical. And man, what a draft pick out of USC. 5th round pick, another 5th round pick, Jim. Rhino says, I thought we were going to lose. I thought we would lose last week too. I don't know. I think we're always going to lose. LOL, it's not a good thing. We're so hot until we're close to the goal line. Yeah, it is frustrating to watch. Like we'll on our first offensive drive, we'll take the ball all the way down the field, and then we'll settle for a field goal. It is frustrating to watch. I would love to know what the 49ers, red zone percentage touchdowns are, because it seems like it's not great. Let's see. So yeah, let's look this up real quick. Yeah, so right now we're 15th in the league out of all 32 teams. So we're average. 57% we score touchdowns in the red zone. The last 3 games we are in the middle, 63%. So it could be worse, but it could definitely be a lot better. Definitely could be a lot better. And at home, we are 4th worst in red zone percentage as far as scoring touchdowns. The only teams that are worse than us at home, Denver Broncos, they're putrid. Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. Those are only 3 teams that are worse in scoring touchdowns when you're in the red zone. So obviously we have huge issues. And this stat is, of course, when we're at home. On the road, we're actually pretty good. So I don't know what it is. Faithful, but when the 49ers are on the road, we're the 3rd best team in scoring touchdowns in the red zone at 76%. The only 2 teams ahead of us, Tennessee and Cincinnati. So what's the deal? At home, we're only 37% when scoring touchdowns in the red zone. On the road, we're 76%. That's weird. That's so weird. I don't get it. I don't get that stat. But those are facts though. I just Googled red zone percentage NFL stats. You can Google it as well. But yeah, that's so weird that the 49ers are so on the opposite ends when they're home and away. So weird. G12 says, Jay, the Saints didn't have a prayer today. Never on the West Coast. Yeah, hey, they played tough. That's for sure. Just the offense, couldn't figure out the Niners defense. Rhino says that Bosa was the X factor. Okay, on defense. All right. Hey, man, I cannot argue with that. G12 says, Jay, our 2 teams play this weekend. Fins at Niners. I know you can't wait for that game. Hey, you know any Dolphins YouTubers? Maybe we could collab. Let me know, G12. Hey, Jordan Mason. I thought he looked solid. Yeah, 5 carries, 25 yards. His longest run was 9 yards. Hey, I thought he was solid. Hey, I ain't seen this man in a cool minute. Rudy, aka the Vermilion Sports Report. What's good? How you doing, man? Appreciate you for tuning in. I ain't seen you in a cool minute, Rudy. But I appreciate you for coming in. You said props at Jay and the Bay. The Niners are in first place. You know, that's very, very kind of you. That's very nice of you, Rudy. I appreciate that, man. DDC, let's get this 6th ring. Can Jimmy lead us, man? Can Jimmy make plays when we absolutely need him to? We know the defense is legit. We know we got the skill guys. The offensive line, it's played well. It's played pretty good most of the season. But can Jimmy make plays when we absolutely need him to? That's the question. And G12, so kind of him to upload the NFC West current standings. 49ers in first place at 7-4. Seahawks 6-5. I think they lost to the Las Vegas Raiders today. I think it was at home too. Oof, that's gotta hurt. And I think I know if you had Josh Jacobs on your fantasy, whoo, that boy had like 200 yards, 33 carries, 2 touchdowns. Man, he was running all over them Seahawks. Cardinals are 4-8. Rams 3-8. Womp womp. And G12 also with the 49ers remaining schedule. The Fins next week at home. Tampa Bay at home. At Seattle. That's going to be on a Thursday night football prime time. Washington at home. At those Las Vegas Raiders. And then we wrap up the season at home against the Arizona Cardinals. So I think for us to win the division, obviously we got to beat Seattle, right? But I think if we can beat Miami, beat Tampa, well, we got 6 games left. I think if we go 4-2, I think we should win the division. If we go 4-2, anything less than that, really would have to see Seattle's schedule. But I think we need to go at least 4-2, at least. Washington's going to be tough. All these opponents are going to be tough. Arizona, I mean, I don't think they're going to be tough at the end of the season unless they want to try to play spoiler, which is possible. But Miami's going to be tough. I think they're top 2 in the AFC East. Tampa Bay, I think, is leading the division right now. Seattle, obviously, is right behind us. Washington, I think they're in a 3-team race in the NFC East. They're playing tough. The Raiders, I think they won their 2nd straight game, so they're not giving up. So, yeah, all these games are going to be tough, man. Definitely playoff atmosphere. Appreciate those updates, G12. G12 says, Jay, did you give out your 3 game balls to either 49ers players or positions that deserve it? Great question, G12. My game balls go to Juwan Jennings, Talanoa Hufanga, and Fred Warner. And I'm going to give one more out, Robbie Gould. Those are my 4 game balls. David McNew, I'm sure every 49er fan says this. We need an offense that goes with our defense. Absolutely. If the defense has only given up 20 points or more in 2 games this season, just 2, KC and Atlanta. That's it. So all the offense needs to do, just score 24 points. We should be good. Now, when we play the upper echelon teams, this defense may give up a little bit, which is expected. So this offense needs to be, I mean, there's really, what's holding the 49ers offense back? Is it Shanahan? Is it Jimmy G? Is it the offensive line? It's one of those 3. And I mean, nothing's going to change this year about those 3. But I think the offensive line didn't have its best game today. But I think it's been steadily getting better. Today, though, We got some work to do. Rudy, do you think Jimmy's flaws will keep the 49ers from beating a team like the Chiefs in the Super Bowl again, despite having CMC and Debo? That's a legit question, Rudy. And it's a fair question. And I think that's the biggest question mark for the 49ers. Jimmy hasn't really had a good playoff game. Some would say the Super Bowl, where he did technically outplay Mahomes the first 3 quarters. We did have a 10-point lead in the 4th quarter, but we need Jimmy to play a full 4-quarter game. And to answer your question, I don't know. We'll have to see. Can Jimmy G have his Joe Flacco moment in the playoffs, Rudy? That's what we need from Jimmy. Play like Joe Flacco did. Hey, he was in the last year of his contract. He bet on himself. He and the Ravens won a Super Bowl. We need Jimmy G to have his Joe Flacco moment in the playoffs. David says we choke in front of the Niner Empire. David goes on to say we choke in our own house in front of the Niner Empire. Shanahan. Yeah. Hey, Shanahan didn't overthrow McCaffrey. Shanahan, the thing is, whenever we lose, is blame Jimmy. We didn't even lose today, but obviously the offense wasn't effective. But and I think it's fair blame. It's fair to blame Jimmy. It's fair to blame Shanahan as well. Shanahan, he is the quarterback whisperer. He is the offensive genius. When you only put up 13 points at home, that comes into question, and that's fair. But I think every week when the offense doesn't do well, it's gonna be we're gonna question Jimmy. And that's why we drafted Trey. But it's the same questions. As long as we get in the playoffs, we win the division, Jimmy can write the rest of his story. He's just got to play consistent 4-quarter ball. And he's yet to do that in the playoffs. So that's going to be a big question mark. We know Jimmy's going to be solid during the regular season. He's going to make some throws. He's going to miss some throws. But the true testament will be how he does in the playoffs. That's going to be it. Absolutely, G12. You're welcome. Anytime. DDC, we appreciate the live podcast, bro. Keep the fire coming. Let's go Niners. I appreciate that, DDC. Man, you're welcome anytime, man. Anytime. Appreciate that. Kelts Chronicles. No, Jimmy cannot. We have literally seen him have multiple chances. I don't think the 49ers let Trey throw warm-up passes in front of cameras if it wasn't a possibility of him coming back, in my opinion. He threw some passes before the game today. I didn't see that. Yeah, I didn't see that, but that's correct. I just have a hard time. I don't believe Shanahan's going to bench Jimmy to put Trey in. I just don't see that happening. I don't see that coming to fruition. I think Shanahan trusts Jimmy more than he trusts Lance. I think some would say that's quite obvious. But yeah, I don't think there's no way Trey Lance is starting games if Jimmy's healthy. I just don't see that. I don't see that coming. But Rudy says props to Kyle Shanahan finally. That's cool. Hey man, you have to add context to that. And I know you a smart guy, Rudy. So I know the history of the team with Shanahan. This team was in shambles, man. The roster was in complete shambles, man. We had what's his name? I forgot his name, but we had a quarterback who's been a career backup for most of his career. Start Shanahan's first year. Brian Hoyer, that's who it was. But yeah, you got to add context to that, man. But I already know you know that, though. I already know you know that. But I appreciate you coming into the stream tonight, Rudy. I'm glad to see you doing well. Hopefully you had an excellent Thanksgiving, Rudy. Kel says Trey was warming up before the game. Wonder what that means, Kels. I guess we'll talk about it on tomorrow night's show. But man, great turnout tonight. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I don't know what happened. I don't know why I can't hear when people call in. Didn't really change anything. So I don't know. I got to get that checked out. But huge shout out to everyone coming into the stream tonight. Appreciate all the chats. The super chat from Blue True. Appreciate that. Before you head on out, feel free to hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification. Straight out of the Bay, we'll be live tomorrow night, 8:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Jay and the Bay YouTube channel. Myself, Kels Chronicles, Bay Area Baller 18, and Amin the Dream. We will be here talking about the game and maybe some other topics as well. Feel free to tune in and also check out those gentlemen YouTube channels. So everyone have a good night. Let's see. We've got a few more. Great stream, Jay. 49ers doing what they need to putting the W's on the board. Absolutely. That's right. Yay. Have a good night, DDC. David says, go Niners. Tough game against a familiar coach next week. I know. It's going to be on and popping. I can't wait for that game. Woo-wee. It's going to be very, very interesting. That's going to be a hell of a game. But everyone have a great night. Have a productive work week. And the 49ers are 7-4, first in the NFC West. Hey, we got to hang our hat on that, but continue to get better at the end of the day. So go Niners. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.